need those. Possibly those. I'm thinking this one, probably. Which means I'm also gonna probably want that. You see, this is one of those things that every photographer, videographer, content creator ends up going through. And no matter how good you think you get at doing this, no matter how long you do this, how often you do it, it always seems to end up the same. Next week I am traveling, heading to Sony Kondo, and anytime I travel now, I seem to just have this same dilemma. I pick up the bag that I intend to bring with me, the smallest, most comfortable travel camera bag that I have, that I've tried, which is the Peter McKinnon 25 litre everyday, it's not an everyday carry bag, but the 25 litre one. And I start to think about what I'm gonna be actually shooting when I'm there, and then I think, oh, well, I'm probably gonna need this camera right here, the A7R5, probably gonna be shooting some landscapes, and so I want the most resolution. Probably gonna do some vloggy style stuff as well, so I'll need this setup right here, which is what we're using to film this whole thing. This is the Lauer 10mm and the A7C2, just because it's smaller. But then I'm like, well, if I'm bringing this, why do I need to bring that? Because it's like bringing the same camera almost twice, just smaller, with less features, but features I'm not going to necessarily need for this trip. And I look at this 7200 f4 with this, but then with this, I'm like, well, that's going to make this technically an f8, so maybe I'll just bring the big Tamron 50-400 with me. But you see, the problem with this lens, despite how much I love it, is that it doesn't have Sony active stabilization. It does have Sony active stabilization, but it doesn't perform nearly as well as when I'm using the 7200 f4. I'm actually starting to think that more and more now. Just invest in Sony glass opposed to third-party glass when you're using autofocus, because it just makes sense with the newer features. It just works better. And then I'm also on this kick right now of shooting with anamorphic. This little setup right here. But when you shoot with anamorphic on the FX3, these Blazar Remus lenses, they are a 1.5 stretch, which means you have to de-stretch it 1.5 times in post. And the FX3 doesn't have a 1.5x de-stretch, it only has a 1.3 and a 2, which means you have to use a monitor. Now I am testing out this Atomos Shinobi 2, which I did by myself, and so it's kind of a good reason to bring that anyway. But then you bring that, and it means I now have to bring some of these, which again, I bought myself. These are from Small Rig. Really quite enjoying these. These are NP style batteries, and they have a little, there you go, a little LCD on there, so it displays the battery level. They have power delivery out and a USB-A port in there as well. This is also in, so they charge super fast, but they provide a huge amount of power compared to any other NP battery I've used. And you can actually charge, like with the Ninja, not with the Ninja, with the Atomos Shinobi 2, you can plug this in, have a USB-C cable out from this into the camera, and it charges the battery at the same time. So those are good. I'm already looking at the table right here going, this is already becoming a decent amount, and I haven't even got everything I need, because every single one of these trips, when you start doing this as a job, is as much for me as it is for probably doing some brand work or some sponsor content. So there's deliverables involved as well. So I almost need like 2 kits. I actually just remembered that I want to bring this, which I am absolutely in love with right now, the Fuji GFX 50R. And I'm already looking at everything on there and thinking, it's probably not fitting in the 25 litre bag. And this happens every single time. No matter how good you think you get at doing this, it always ends up the same. So this bag is gonna get put back. Let's move all this out of the way a second, because now another thought comes to mind. I have been testing these bags. There's 2, there's a 25 litre. Look at that green, it's really nice. This 40 litre in orange. This is, what do they call these again? I think they're One Pro Focus backpack. And then this one is, I don't know the name of this one. There's a lot going on here, as you can see. These bags they're really interesting because they store so much stuff. There's so many pockets on them, and they have this really interesting kind of frame in the back there, which is made out of aluminium. What it does is this part here, it keeps the back of the bag away from your back. So it doesn't actually stretch. It doesn't actually make you sweat as much. So it kind of goes on like that, and you can see, maybe from the angle, you can kind of see it. That mesh there, when it hits that metal, it just creates like a little buffer. And so you don't sweat as much. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe we'll try these bags out, we'll test these. But the older I get and the more I travel now, the more I start to like really hone in on specific things that just work for me. And when it's a trip that could be a lot of walking involved, when you're testing out new gear, that might not always end up how you want it to end up. So then I just go to my default, which is the bigger Peter McKinnon bag, the 35 litre, which honestly is still a fantastic bag. And there's still stuff packed in here from whatever I was last using this for. I hiked through the desert with this in Nevada, no problems, like 6K hike. And yeah, it weighs a lot when you put everything in here. Because I'm in that horrible mindset of just, what if I need this? What if I need that? I always just pack too much. I've made videos about how to avoid this, and then I implemented that myself, and then I just always go back to, what if? What if I need that? I'm just looking at my list here of things to pack. I don't even have half of what I need right now. But what do we have in here that you might be interested in? And I'll kind of run you through where we're at right now for gear and what I pack when I go on these excursions. We need a mic system. DJI mic is my go-to, especially with the little adapter, which we're actually using for this angle right here. Using that all the time now. I have one on right here, taped underneath. That's my go-to. Honestly, because less cables just makes things easier. Right, we need mic, we need filters. Now I've got these filters right here from Velium. I mean, the nice thing with this is this is technically everything I need in terms of a filter. We've got the ND on the front there, which turns. Why are you not focusing? There we go, turns like NDs are used to. But then they all stack together. And what we've got on here, this is gold streak. We've got ND3 stop. Look, I'm not gonna go through everything here, but the nice thing with these is you can just stack them all together, and that's essentially everything you need. So I've got those, but then I'm also trying out the Tiffin magnetic system is nice because you put almost like a step-up ring on the front and then they're magnetic, but they're really strong magnets. So I've got these as well. But I don't have any variable NDs for those yet, so I'll probably end up taking these. But then I haven't tested these yet. And this is part of a thing when you're going on a trip as someone that does this for a living. We get sent all this gear to test out and to try out. But if I'm actually shooting for myself, and there's the potential that I might take some really nice photos or videos, and I haven't tested equipment before, it begs the question, is that the right place to test it when there's the potential that you could be shooting once in a lifetime things? Straps. Yeah, camera straps. I am actually on a big kick with these recently, just short leather straps. These are like 20, I think maybe 30-inch straps. I got these from Etsy. You can pick the colors. I don't love that it has whatever the branding is on there, but they're Peak Design. And I just recently learned from Peak Design that you can get, oh look, here's another one. You can get black Peak Design anchors, which are way better than the red ones, in my opinion. It just looks a little bit cleaner. Look at that little setup there. That's interesting, isn't it? That's a lens from TT Artisans. It's a 28mm 5.6 manual, obviously. Look at these. That's why I like the short strap. So you can run two, and then the cameras just go side by side. Or you can just throw these over. There's the police. You can throw one over this shoulder and one over this shoulder, and then you just grab it from the shoulder when you need it. So I really like these short straps. Well, if we're bringing the anamorphic lenses, which we probably will, we've got the monitors. But the nice thing with these anamorphics is because they are not E-mount lenses, I've got, for the 65 Blazer, I've got a PL, and for the 45, I've got an EF. Would rather have them both the same, but hard to get hold of those, so I just buy whatever I was able to, and I have these little ND throttle adapters. And basically this is an what is that? Plastic? These are ND filters, but they're also adapter mounts. So this is a PL to Sony E mount. So the physical 65mm itself is a PL lens. This part's E mount, but inside here you'll see this is actually an ND filter. And it's really convenient to not have to worry about throwing an ND filter on the front of these. It's just on the back. There's a little bit of a cost, but like it's nothing. Bit of dust in there. There's nothing that people are going to read me out for that one. It's nothing you can't fix with 10-bit. So I really like those recently. Again, bought myself. Sometimes brands won't send you stuff unless there's a commitment to make something. And you can't say I'm going to make something for the product that you send through if you've never tested it before. Like, what if it's absolute garbage, which sometimes things are. So often if there's stuff that I want to try it myself, I'll buy it myself. It's just easier. Cameras. So we're bringing the A7R5, which we're shooting with right here. We're going to bring the A7... I don't know which one. We'll see. See, the A7R5 shoots more megapixels, but then I don't really need all those megapixels. It's a bigger body, has a better screen, but this camera's just a lot smaller and more convenient. And I like shooting with this little tiny 35 with the... You gonna focus? With the A7C II there, because it's just a really small setup. And then we're also gonna bring the GFX, probably the Fuji X100, because it's just so small. Portable chargers, yes. Hotels, generally speaking, the plugs are weirdly placed sometimes, so I've been bringing these little Anchor charger, and then I can probably bring this as well, because this is really good to plug into a hotel to charge off of. And we'll need those. And we'll also need a nice long USB-C cable from Condor Blue. It's one of the benefits of everything being USB-C these days is you can just pack one cable and don't have to worry. I mean, I'll pack two to have a backup, but a drone. You see, with this kind of trip, I want to bring a drone, but at the same time, I know someone else is going to bring a drone, so we're probably going to bring FPV. And that's not even to shoot anything with, that's more just for fun for me to play about with and fly, and nobody else really shoots FPV. So we'll bring the Avada, which then means I need this secondary bag, which will be my personal item on the plane. And let's talk about that for a second, because this is something that I have come to realize, which is going to be the better angle here, probably that one, eh? This is something I've come to realize more recently when traveling. I, for the longest time, was die-hard hand luggage only, because you want everything to just be with you. You want to jump off the plane and just be able to get going straight away. But have you noticed recently, if you fly, especially in the States, on those smaller planes, they're always packed full, and everyone does the same thing. Everyone just brings their hand luggage. And everyone's hand luggage is now way over the size it's meant to be, and half the time stuff doesn't fit in the overhead lockers. So the past few trips, what I've been doing is using my bag as my main carry-on item, and then maybe having a little personal item like this to go over my shoulder, and then I just check everything else. And in the check luggage, I might throw in some protective cases or something, an extra lens, my tripod, heavy stuff, anything that doesn't have a battery in, because it's just easier. And I find because a lot more people are taking carry-on luggage now, that it really isn't as long to wait for check luggage, which is one of the issues that I stopped doing it as well. So don't tell anyone about that one. You also run the risk if you bring just carry-on, if the plane is full, then you might have to check your bag, which if it's a camera bag, you do not want to do. So if I just have one backpack on my back and then a small little carry-on personal item, then I kind of fly under the radar compared to everyone else who has the big roller bags. So, little tip for you. Immediately we are filled. That is gonna fill in that, and then I need my laptop in here, my iPad in here, my Steam Deck, because I really enjoy playing that on the plane recently, Red Dead Redemption 2, and then it's full. And the Ray-Ban Metas. I actually haven't even tested this yet, but we can do it right here. So, Ray-Ban Metas. I got 2 sets because, let's make some space. My set that I bought myself, I took in the water, as in I went in the ocean with my kids, and they don't work very well anymore. But Ray-Ban reached out to me a little while ago and wanted to send me a pair which was convenient because I needed a new pair and these are really hard to get hold of right now. But the only ones that they have in stock are, oh, these are bigger, aren't they? That's not gonna work. Well, maybe. The only ones they have in stock are these ones. And I mean, this is what these look like on my face. They're fine. They're just Ray-Bans. And then these, they're transitions. They don't look the best to me. So I wondered, and I started looking online, and you can do it, could you just change out the lenses? Swap the lenses from these to these. But I think they are different sizes. Let's try and pop them out. Video online said if you push just in this corner down here, oh yeah, look at that. Easy. Easy. Bingo. Oh no, it's not gonna work. Okay, well, it is what it is. Is it as easy to put them back in? Oh wow, it is. Look at that. I love these things. They are so good at getting behind the scenes. Ray-Ban Metas, if you haven't tried them already. Even for just shooting stuff with your kids and having memories that you can really just stay in the moment with, and you don't have to point a camera in their face or anything. These are really good for that. Yeah, so packing for travel isn't the most enjoyable thing in the world. It really becomes a chore because you just pack too much stuff, and if you're like me, it's like, well, what if I need that? What if I do need that lens? Well, what if I'm using that body and then I need to film something with that body? So you just end up packing way too much. And you never get better at doing it. It's just a skill that you will never learn. I will never learn. Are you the same? Like, how do you deal with this? Is there a system that you've implemented that seems to work, that you can stick to? Maybe I should just get a 20-70. Maybe I should get that 16-25 every single time. I'm like, maybe I'll just sell some lenses and buy some other lenses that work better for travel. But then when I get back, these lenses make more sense because I don't have to worry about packing space. It's just a constant dilemma. It's a constant thing that you will never get better at doing. Tripod. We need a tripod. So this tripod, so here's the dilemma. I'll run you through. When you have this setup with the monitor on top and then one of these batteries, which is a little bit heavier, that weighs a decent amount. And my go-to tripod for the longest time has been this one. Let's grab these. This one is the Ulanzi common one. You've seen me talk about it, post about it before. Very, very good tripod. But this, when you have this extended, which you're going to need to, this isn't quite strong enough to support that setup. So then this one came in, which is another one from Ulanzi. This is their Video Go tripod, and it is more video focused. Same sort of deal, but again, the same thing. This doesn't support that weight. So this week I was trying to figure out, well, what are we gonna do? This is what I ended up coming up with. So it's my Benro legs. These are the FIF 28C legs with an iFootage Komodo KS5 fluid head on the top there. This is mostly for photography, but it works fine for video. You see, the problem with this though is it's big. That won't fit in the side of your bag easy, and I know I'm checking it anyway, but typically you have to take the head off, and this is a lot heavier. And then Falcam have been trying to send through a tripod for the longest time. It's been stuck in customs, and I honestly forgot about it. And then the day that I had built that big tripod setup, and that's what I was convinced I was gonna bring, this came in. I'll probably do a whole video just about this tripod. So this is, I think this thing's been out a while. This is called their tree root tripod, I believe. Now, I'm not normally a fan of tripods with twist legs, but what they've done with this is they're just half turns. So right now it's locked. You just have to turn it that much to extend it. So that's really nice. And I mean, it definitely has taken some inspiration from some other manufacturers, but it is a really narrow tripod when it's all put together there. I've never really experienced that F38 system until recently. And now having used it on this, I am absolutely convinced. And I actually just went out and, have you seen them in frame here? You've seen them in the corner here the whole time. I just went out and bought from Amazon all F38 plates now. Previously I was on these PGY Tech ones, and some things will work with both, but now I've gone to all F38, including the change from this, which goes in my bag, to this now. So on the back here, you see this little lever? what you can do, extend this first, we'll lock this in. This is adjustable. That's an F38 plate. You just click it in and it locks in. Do you see that? And then to pull it out, you just, oh, it's hard to do on its side there. When there's a camera attached, it'll be easier, but just pop it out like that and then we put it back in. It locks itself in. I love that. And this, tested it already, supports that setup there. So this is a lot stronger. There's also an interesting feature with this, and I'm probably gonna do a whole video on this. This is the only travel tripod that I've ever seen that has an adjustable, so this part here, you can tighten on the knob here. You hear that clicking? You can adjust the amount of friction. So if you want it looser, see how it just falls? Now if you tighten it up, it won't fall. So it's the only one I've ever seen that has that on there. And also, under here, you know what, we'll leave it for another video. You can take this column out, you don't need any extra tools or anything. Like, I'm really impressed with this tripod so far, the Falcon Tree Root. Just a vloggy style video, really. This is a dilemma and a challenge that everyone always goes through. And how do you deal with it? I just thought there was something in that bag that you shouldn't have seen. No, I wrapped up, we're good. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.